I probably drink caffeine, like, I don't even know. Probably like 4 or 5 times a day between coffee and energy drinks. It's just one of those things where I'm so hyper all the time that when I drink caffeine, like, it does nothing for me. So I don't even realize it that I've drank, 1 or 2 Celsius in the morning. I know it's bad for you. I know it is. But, I feel like it just makes me happy. Welcome back to the second episode of Caffeine Happy Podcast. For those who are new here, my name is Casey. I am a 24-year-old working from home gal in technology in North Carolina, and I will let my lovely co-host introduce herself.
I'm your other co-host, Kylie. I am 23 and I work in HR. Woohoo!
I love it. All right, Kylie. So let's go ahead and just start our day off with our caffeine drink of choice. Tell me a little bit about what you have today to pop open for us.
So, I did not bring a caffeinated beverage today, but I did bring an Olipop. I haven't actually had any Olipops yet. So, this is
What
literally a live on camera. This is Tropical Punch. It's a very pretty can. I don't know if well,
I
obviously
don't
you
think
can't
I've
see it, but
tried. I don't think I've ever tried Olipop. I don't think so.
I saw
Hmm.
that it's like Poppy, and I'm a Poppy stan. So I'm
We
intrigued.
do love
So
we do love Poppy. Okay,
I
so
do.
Kylie's got her tropical punch. Today we're rolling with a crisp Diet Coke. And if you know me, you know I love some Diet Coke. Oh, wasn't
Well done.
that fantastic? My like third or fourth Diet Coke today. That's okay.
That's
Sometimes
kind of
you
low
need it.
for you.
I know. I've been trying really hard not to put it in my Stanley, but my brother's so my middle brother, Christopher, is getting married, and his fiance, of course, I'm a bridesmaid, why not? Sent me a whole box of goodies today, and one of them had a white, like the cream beige Stanley. What yes.
Stop.
Yeah, so shout out to
Yeah.
Chelsea because I love pink is my favorite color, but when I tell you she probably listened to the first episode because I was talking about how I liked my white during the fake white Stanley. So she was like, "This girl needs a real Stanley." That's probably what happened. But it's so dangerous. But luckily, this one's a 30 ounce, so I don't feel as bad filling it up with Diet Coke. But my pink one is a 40 ounce, and I feel terrible. So I've been trying not to do that. And sticking with the cans, but
It's called
that's
girl
just
guilt.
girl guilt. Stop it right now.
Girl
I
guilt.
I love it. But on the fact of guilt, let's go off that one because I mean, I feel like this
Oh
is
Lord.
something that everybody is going to run into at some point in life. And I know for us, it happened a lot sooner than expected when we lived together, which was where we left off our last episode talking
Yeah.
about in college, we were roommates and we literally did everything together from Taco Bell runs to you name it. We were always together. And it was the transition between college life to now becoming boss babes, being adult women, and trying to figure out what the heck that world looks like. So that guilt kind of came on soon because it's now like you've made these really good friends. How do you keep in touch with them? How do you work with their schedule? So I want to dive into today's episode of like how have we been able to really keep our friendship alive, even though we're those friends that we don't have to talk every day. We could,
No.
go 2 weeks without talking and we'd pick right back up where we left off, which is so lucky because that's just one of those things that
Hmm.
sometimes friendships after college fizzle out and some just never go away. They're just there for life. And so I want
Absolutely.
so I want to ask you, what has it been like since moving out and then to kind of where we are now? It's been 2 years out of college, which is so weird. But
Yeah.
what is that looking like for you, Kylie? It's very different for everyone. So I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at it, it was one of those things where you and I were always talking about, what our next plans were. And I don't think that you and we hypothesized a lot and we ended up not doing what we originally thought we were going to do. You
Oh yeah.
thought you're going to end up in Georgia. I thought I was going to end up in Louisiana. And
Yeah.
yeah, we did not.
We definitely did
Um,
not do that.
yeah. I don't think I had as much of a culture shock as you did per se because I went right into grad school. So I
Yeah.
kind of was still living half of a college life. I was just doing working and school on like max levels.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was definitely the interesting part because now it was I'm graduated. We're both graduated. We have, in your brain you would think straight going into workforce where you went into grad school because you're like, girl, I'm about to get me a full education. And that was the thing is I now had to remember, okay, Kylie's in class or Kylie's working her internship or Kylie's somewhere that I'm like, oh, I can't just call her or FaceTime her or, be like, hey Kylie, what you doing right now? Like it was hard to
Yeah.
not. And I mean, like, I still run in that today, like with my cousin Grace. We've been talking about this. I cannot wait for her to graduate. I know it's selfish, but I'm like, we talk
Yeah.
all the time, but there's like middle parts of the day where I'm like, oh, I just need to bounce ideas off someone. Even same with you. Like, you're at work, it's
Yeah.
hard. And with, multiple different time zones in between us, it's even harder. But like you said, it was one of those things. I went straight from college to a working from home job. I moved to North Carolina. I had different living arrangements in between. My brother and I lived together. We ended up moving out of there, and then I moved back in with my parents before I decided, okay, this is definitely not the route. I do not want to be with living with my parents. That was not fun, and I love Tim and Jen, but sometimes you just gotta grow up and move away and do things. And I was still dating Eric, and which I still am dating Eric,
Yeah.
and at the time, and so it was more of like, okay, well all my friends have moved away. What do I do? Like, where do I go? And my boss was like, you can live anywhere. Pick a spot on the map. Wherever's going to make you happy, like I will put you there. And I was like, well, thank you because I'm going to Raleigh, North Carolina because that was just the best thing for me at the moment because I mean that's where Eric was and I just knew that our relationship was heading in such a great way and that's where I needed to be. And so then it was like such a weird thing because it was still COVID and like people were not working anywhere. It was hard to like really find friends. I'll be honest, like the only friend I really have in Raleigh is his family and him and my roommate. That's the only people I really know. I tried to start at a gym, but like it's different. When you see people at the gym, you're all going to get beat up for the morning and going home. Like you don't hang out with those people. Like it's just not that. And working from home, nobody on my team lives in my area. So it's hard. But it's one of those things where it's like I had to realize like, okay, I now have to learn how to be independent and then just keep reaching out to the friends that I do have across the country and making sure those friendships stay nurtured because if I'm not at least trying or putting an effort for those, like they're not going to blossom. And I definitely think that that's what really helped on both of our sides. We'd always reach out, hey, what's going on? Like Snapchats, put stuff in group chats, like still
Yeah.
be connected, which really helped the transition after college. So I want to know, like, from your
Mhm.
going into school and then seeing all of us going into careers, what was that like for you? I've never really asked you about that.
Um, I don't think there was when I was going through grad school, there wasn't much of a mind shift for me per se versus from when I just felt like it was the natural next step, whether it was I went to grad school, you went to grad school, and I got a job or whatever. I just felt like it was the natural progression of things. I went into grad school because at the time, what I was doing, I needed a master's degree. So I got that master's degree and it didn't feel like anything out of the ordinary because I also was working full time. I mean, I was working for my tuition. I was a grad assistant for a while, but I don't think it ever really stood out to me of like, oh man, I wish I went and got a real job or something like that. Like
Life's
it
a
just
lie.
felt yeah, it felt like there were two paths out of our undergrad and
Yep.
both paths were valid, both paths were good, and it didn't really matter which path anyone took per se.
I feel like that's a great way to put it too, because it's always depending on
Yeah.
what your degree is, depending on what career field you want to go into, whether it be medical, whether it be, I mean, anything that we're working on, especially like the engineering degree that I got. I'm like, I don't ever want to have to go to master's, but I feel like if that was something I knew I needed, like, hey, like I'm not gonna get, the best out of my career if I don't do this now. We would have been on the same track. I'd be like, Kylie, I'm over here drowning in homework. What you doing? You're probably drowning in homework.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny to go from undergrad to grad school. It is such a 360 shift.
Yeah.
It it's hard and the funny thing is you're taking less work. your full-time grad student has 9 hours. And
Wow.
it's yeah, but it's so much more work, and then on top of that, you're working pretty much almost full time, if not full time, if not over full time. I know I was working over full time when I was getting my master's. So,
Holy cow.
yeah, it was a lot. So, it's certainly I don't think I really had time to think about anything else per se, other than like, okay, what's going on in my immediate bubble?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's the thing is, I remember when we got together, this would have been last year now,
Mhm.
when we had done the birthday celebration stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy now. Like, it was almost weird to see you in person because I'm like, I've been talking to you and texting with you, and then I'm like, oh my god, you're actually here. Like, it's so weird. It's like having a pen pal
Yeah.
online for years, and then you see each other in person for like we could have margs and talk about good times that we had, and then we of course we're watching
Yeah.
the summer I turned pretty, and that's still
Oh,
something we're like all obsessed with. I remember you sent me a candle. I don't know if it was for Christmas or what it was, but it was
it was for
this smells
Christmas.
like Conrad Fisher. I'm like, yeah. Oh my god, I still have the candle. I like refuse to burn it. It smells so good, but I refuse to burn it because I don't want it to go away and I have to throw it out.
I'll buy you a
But
new one for Christmas.
I know we may
I
have to
still
switch
have where I bought
themes.
it from.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And that's the thing is like it's so weird, but it's the being able to just nurture those friendships even at a distance. Like it's so nice that we're still able to pick up right where we left off. And that's something in the friendship I feel like you had to really instill in the beginning of like, okay, you're just going to be a lifelong friend and you just kind of realize it and then you just go from there. And so I feel like with us, like I feel like we've always just kind of gravitated toward each other, no matter good, bad, ugly, because we've had our moments.
Yeah.
We've had our moments.
Well,
COVID
yeah,
COVID
but
really did a number.
well, here's the thing too. I mean, we were two roommates that didn't let stuff fester. We just hashed it out. If we had
Yeah.
an issue, nobody sat and lingered on it, or I didn't
Oh,
hold resentment towards you, you didn't hold it towards me. We just hashed it out. Once it was hashed out, it's gone.
yeah. It's just confronting the problems that you come to at the front. It's like any healthy relationship. It's like don't go to bed
Yeah.
upset. Just already go ahead and hang it out. And I feel like that's definitely a good I feel like a good like round out of this conversation of just talking about learning how to have those healthy friendships even going out of
Yeah.
college is such a important step I feel like in really truly deciding like am I going to be a lifelong friend with this person or were we just friends for this era of my life. And so I think
Yeah.
learning the difference between that healthy relationship as a friend is something that I
Yeah.
think college really helped us with just by going ahead and facing all of our fears or confronting our problems and then just being able to enjoy the moments we had because we weren't sure if we were going to be able to see each other again. Like I
No.
haven't seen you in a year, but we see each other online, which is nice and we keep up and text and that's the best part I think about it, but I feel like that's definitely the mantra, I guess, of this episode is like learning how to live that healthy friendship life before you go long distance, which is almost like deciding if you're going to date
Hilarious.
somebody long distance. That's literally how we are, Kylie. We're dating long distance. Who knew? Not me. No, I love that, but I feel like that rolls us perfectly into our
Yeah.
favorite segment, which is cheaper than therapy. And this is something that I think we both thrive off of, cheaper than therapy. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into that. And talking about our cheaper than therapy, I finally bit the bullet and bought stuff from Temu. I know this is like a
What?
weird yes, I know, and I love Shein, like, or whatever you wanna call it, Shein, I love it. However, Temu is very, like, unlooked at, like, areas yet in the world of, like, buying cheap items offline, but I bought the UGG I call them, like, the camel toe mules. You know what I'm talking about, they're the tan
Yes,
ones,
the
the
ones on
platform.
TikTok. Yeah.
I had seen a girl and she was like, I went ahead and just bought them from Temu and like they were the best. And I just got them today randomly. I got a notification in my Amazon hub, hey, you got a package. And I'm like, I don't remember what I ordered. I ordered it like a month ago, not even realizing. And it just came in, which is, great. Love that for me. It's like an AliExpress purchase. And I was walking around my boyfriend's townhome earlier and I was like, oh my gosh, look at my shoes. And he was like, those are so ugly. But I'm like, they make me feel better inside. Like, honestly, like it really was cheaper than therapy for me to have these warm little fuzzy shoes going
Wow.
straight into the fall season. But what would your cheaper than therapy thing be for this week, Kylie?
let's just give a quick shout out to Eric for keeping us honest in our fashion. Um, that man is always dressed to the nines, and God bless him, he keeps us honest.
Yeah,
My cheaper
him and
than
his 6 outfits. He has 6 outfits. Let's
oh
just put that
my,
out there.
oh my Lord, bless him. It's okay. Again, keeps us honest, keeps us on trend. Um, my cheaper than therapy. I have a few this week that I could go for. I did hair care last time, so I won't. We're not going to double down. We'll
Okay.
move on. Instead, I'm going to give truly less than monetary value here. I'm going to give you something that speaks to your soul.
Okay,
All
hit
right.
me with it.
If you obviously don't have a dog. I have a dog.
Mhm.
So I have to do a lot of walking around multiple times a day. And, walking without music is it's kind of sad. It's kind a
Yeah,
little it gets a little boring.
it's a little much.
Gets a little boring. Gets a little dull. So here's my recommendation for all of you listening. Pop in the earbuds, pop in whatever your favorite headphone of choice. Put on the third act movie song of your choice, where the heroine is roaming around trying to figure out her life. Which man is she going to choose? We don't know yet. But she's going through it, right? Put those kind of songs on. Walk around. Give main character while you're doing it.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it is emotional and it is a lot of fun. Because you're just roaming around as if you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders. I got to pick between Hot Man 1 and Hot Man 2. And here I am doing a lap around the building.
What a great problem to have, though.
I mean, truly, can't relate in the slightest, but it's just fun. It's so fun to be just dramatic on purpose.
I love that. But that's one of those things you don't realize either is like you get the dog and you're so excited, then you go, oh snap, I gotta take him out. He's gotta go to the bathroom. It's like having a
Yep.
little miniature child. You just got you a child. You adopted
I I
it.
have I literally do. I have a child on a small scale. It's which is kind of funny because I mean, I know that you and I have had baby fever at certain points.
Yes.
And then I first of all, you become an adult and you have to take care of yourself and you're like, whoa, that's a lot. Then I get this dog and I have to take care of him and myself and I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. So yeah, instead of having kids at this point in your life, get a dog and walk around with sad songs. Thank me
I'm
later.
I'm here for that though. But see, this sounds bad. When we get in the car rides and we're going somewhere, we had gone to Nashville. I played Taylor's version of everything that she had
Oh,
just re-released. I think it was
as
the
you
Red
should.
album. Whichever was the first album she re-released, it was that one. I think it was Red.
I think
And
it was Red.
Eric had never like he listened to Taylor Swift, knows who it is, but it's not like it's his thing. And we were somewhere and somebody was like, yeah, girls that listen to Taylor Swift are deeply depressed in their relationships. And he was like, we just listened to Taylor Swift on a loop for 8 hours. And I'm like, I still love you. I promise I still love you. But seriously, sometimes sad songs, just like you need to get an emotion out. Sometimes you just feel like you need to cry. You just feel like you need to
Absolutely.
cry or you need to just
You
let,
need to
even though
feel something.
yeah, there may not be anything wrong in your life. You may have just such a great life. But sometimes when it's too good, sometimes you're like, I gotta have something bad. I don't want somebody to be bad to me, so I'm just gonna do it for myself and play some Taylor Swift. Like that's
Look,
literally life.
the all too well 10-minute version hits because
10-minute version,
everyone's
Taylor's
been
version.
there. 10-minute version, Taylor's version, it hits because everyone's been there. It's not because I feel it right now. It's because it hits. I mean, I have felt it, and I mean, I when I was going through it, the 10-minute version was not existent. But it's you can enjoy music and also be like, yeah, I'm not horribly depressed, and I don't know where my scarf is.
I don't know where my scarf is. I think when the first version of All Too Well came out, I think that was my least favorite song on the album. I didn't even like it. I didn't even remember it. And then when
Really?
and then when she released a 10-minute version and I sat there, my roommate had me watch. She was like, "You have to watch this. It's 10 minutes," or it was like
Oh,
15 minutes or
yeah.
whatever. She said, "You just
The
gotta watch it." I'm
15-minute
like,
music video?
oh my goodness. And like I work with a pageant production company on the side, and literally me and two men sat down to watch this. And Christian, one of our camera guys, was like, this hits too deep, man. This just hits too deep. And I'm laughing so hard because I'm like, dude, everybody has felt this at some point, whether it's just a
Yes.
tiny little heartbreak or a big one. Like you just feel it. Like the way he takes his
Yeah.
hand off of her, like, oh, it just gets me riled up
Ugh.
every time. I'm like, how dare you? You shouldn't fight him, but you can't fight him.
How dare you? Second of all, my youngest sister and I made my parents sit down and watch it. And I
Oh my
kid
gosh.
you not, like we went frame by like scene by scene, basically, not frame by frame, but scene by scene where we broke this down. We're like, look, here's the scarf. She left the scarf. He
She
has
just
the
wants her
scarf.
scarf. Just give me my scarf back.
That's the whole thing. All too well 10-minute version. She just wants her scarf back. That's it.
That's
That's
literally
what the
it.
song's about.
That is
Ah,
too funny.
that's like the mansplained version of All Too Well. She wants her
Really.
scarf back.
It's like, why won't you just give her scarf back? That's the
Scarf
question we've been
back, I
asking for
mean.
10 years. We just want the
Yeah,
scarf
I'm
back.
supposed. Yeah, first of all, is it at Goodwill or does he have it?
I don't know. I feel like at some point it's gonna turn up and end up in some sort of Taylor Swift museum when she's like old, decrepit, and gone. And like I'm serious. I think all of her outfits from this most recent tour, like everything is gonna show up in a museum. Like, don't play. The
Yeah.
Taylor Swift Museum, it's gonna be in like Nashville or Knoxville or Chattanooga or wherever my fun fact, my aunt, I guess my aunt and their brother all went to the high school that Taylor Swift went to school. Fun fact. Yep, because they live.
Oh,
It was
the
in Hendersonville.
hell?
It was in Hendersonville, I think. I can't remember, but
Sure.
they went to her same school. I was like, that's fun,
I
crazy,
love that.
but yeah. But on that note, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode of just kind of talking about healthy relationships. You know what it looks like, the
Yeah.
transitional period from college to working life and graduate school, because that's always a topic that is so scary to think about, but it's something you should go ahead and start prepping your friendships for now, because if you want them to last, you really got to put in the work now so you can see the rewards later. But the next episode we are going to be talking about girl math. That is something that has blown up over the past few weeks on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram. So Kylie, let's talk about some girl math, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.